former colleagues, seniors from IOB, Chief Guest of Honor, Madam Uma Gauri, Principal Ediraj College, all the students, NSS volunteers, NGO organizations who have all come here for this gathering. Good morning, Namaskar. So it's a great pleasure for me to come here and be amongst you on this 27th anniversary of IOBIANS6070. And of course, it's a day also coinciding with the International Day for Elders. So I think the program is well sort of organized and orchestrated so that the objectives of IOBIANS6070 and the commemoration of the Day of Elders is also synchronized together, and both these objectives are taken forward in society so that the society also benefits. So I think that's a very, very noble objective, and it's great privilege for me to be present amongst all of you, all the seniors. It's almost like a family get-together of sorts. So meeting so many people who have been associated with IOB, with the bank, for in so many capacities, and I think all of you have made the bank into what it is today. What the bank is today is basically because of the foundations that were laid down by all of you, right? And that has given strength to the bank, that has built the bank. Of course, there have been good times for the bank, there have been difficult times for the bank, but these are all times that an organization moves through. And as the organization moves through in its journey, I think it is the legacy which continues. And the legacy of the work done, of the building blocks that so many of you have put, all of them have contributed into the making of IOB into what it is today. And I think all of you have probably seen the results we announced, the quarterly results of the bank also just day before yesterday. So now IOB has declared a net profit of almost 777 crores. It's a 3-7 figure mark. So 777, it's a good number to remember also. And also it signifies a lucky, there's a lucky charm associated with the number 7. So 3 lucks in 40 years is the number. And that signifies more positivity and more good things coming for the bank as we move forward. The aspirations of the bank are very high. The bank is on a very solid footing in terms of a lot of activities, a lot of things that it has been doing on the business front, on the customer front, on the modernization front, on the controls and other aspects of the bank, all put together. And I think all this put the bank in very good shape to look at the future, where IOB can be regarded as one of the best banks in the mid-size category. Right? So, of course, SBI and SDFC, those are banks which are very large in scale and size, and of course, we are not there in terms of size, but in the mid-size in the segment, I think we can definitely be the best bank in the mid-size category. So that is where I think the aspirations for the bank is, and I think that is where all of your work and all of your legacy has been so important in setting the stage for this bank to go. So now coming to this day, I thought when I was coming, I was just jotting down some points as to what to speak in terms of a gathering like this, in terms of when it is also commemorating the Day of the Elders. And I think it does not require a single day to commemorate elders, right? It's a everyday business. It's an ongoing business. Probably why they keep these special days is probably just to give a reminder, right? So that's again a reminder of sorts where we can remind ourselves in terms of what our elders stand for and what is it that they have done to build us up. Just like all of you, the senior generation of IOBs have built the bank in what it is today and where it will go. I think in society, in families, and generations also, I think elders play a great role in terms of where the next generation goes and how it goes forward in life. So from that perspective, I think let this day be a reminder of the work, of the legacy, of the values, of the moral compass in terms of direction, in terms of how one needs to proceed in life that our elders set us up for. Right? And that is a process of evolution of society. As society evolves, as mankind evolves, it grows from one generation to another generation. What it was earlier, things are going from one stage to another. So it's a normal process of evolution. And in that process of evolution, every generation plays a role. Every people in various stages of life, they play a role in terms of how things are improved from one stage to another. So that is something I think we must acknowledge and take as part of our overall growth story and evolution process. They say Rome was not built in a day, it was built brick by brick. Similarly, everyone in our respective lives, we build it brick by brick. And in that bricks, there are a lot of bricks that our parents, our elders have put into us, and which actually stabilizes our life, which actually puts things in perspective for us, and which helps us be grounded and take forward the life in a proper manner. And we need to be appreciative of that. We need to understand that role. We need to imbibe that the role that our parents, our other forefathers have been laying down for us to be in what we are doing. In banking, they say there's a premium on seniority, right? And we can learn banking. There are newcomers, there are freshers who come and were very well educated, well trained, well skilled, understand banking like the back of their hand in terms of the skills, the knowledge, the rules and regulations, etc. So they know what to do, right? So that is definitely something which the current generation is very adept at in terms of learning fast, grasping. That's the new age generation, the Gen Z and the Gen Alpha and the Millennials generation. But again, we still place a premium on seniority. Even though there are people who are smarter, faster, and much better, much effective than many seniors from the younger generation. But still there's a premium on seniority. Why? There's a premium on seniority because while there may be smarter people in the new generation, they may know what to do, they have all the skills, they are effective, fast, they know what to do. But sometimes it's what not to do becomes so very important. And that what not to do does not get taught in any course, any education, or any skill-based training program. That what not to do comes only through experience, through ages, through going through the journey. When a decision that somebody takes today, what ramifications that decision will have 5 years hence, 10 years hence, is something that you understand when you go through the journey of 5 years and 10 years. So if you have not traversed that journey, you might be as experienced, you might be as technically sound, but you still may really not understand the ramifications 5 years later, 10 years later. So that is experience, and that is where in banking, I think it's so very important that there is a premium on seniority and experience. Because without that, I think, and that's why the term that we use in banking is seasoned banker, right? So there can be a very effective banker, but there's also a term called seasoned banker. And a seasoned banker is one who has progressed through those stages and through that journey and has seen various things of how things evolve, how the ramifications are there for various decisions. And that learning, that experience itself creates a lot of maturity. and that maturity is essential. So that is what I think the value of or the premium of seniority and elders lie. There's also one more knowledge, I would say, a book or a volume that goes by the name of Encyclopedias Britannica. Right? So we all rely on Encyclopedia Britannica and all those encyclopedias and give that to our children and all the school-going students, etc., so that they update on knowledge. But there's also an encyclopedia of experience, right? And that encyclopedia of experience is what seniors bring in. So that is again one thought that I thought why there's a premium on seniority. There are many youngsters here, so let me also address some of the youngsters in the group. And so we have been talking about all the seniors and all our colleagues and elders here. So let me also talk to all our young friends here. So, and many of you are in NSS. So NSS is also about service, about volunteerism. And I think service is also a quality that is as much essential as any other skill. So that is something that comes and makes people successful. People may place again a lot of reliance on knowledge, on other skills, but ultimately the word service is ingrained in how a person becomes successful. And that is, I'll give the example of banking. Again, in banking, you might be very adept in rules, you might be very adept in technology, you might be very adept in rules and regulations and credit and all that. But it's the service quality that you give to the customer. The customer service that you give to the customers who are attending on you or relying on you or who have placed their trust on you, that becomes the sole determinant of how good a banker you are. You might be a very, very good, knowledgeable banker, but if you're not good at the service quality that you deliver to the end customer, then you're not a good banker. And that service quality is, I think, essential for making a success of someone as a banker. So that applies everywhere. It is the service which actually creates a differentiation between an effective person and a person who is successful. Sometimes we lose out on that service element. That service element, I think, is something that all of you youngsters need to imbibe as part of what we do in our regular activities, in our careers, in our life. As we set our life goals, as we set our career goals, it is also important to keep the service element as much ingrained in the way we take our careers forward. If we include that service element, rest assured your output will be definitely differentiated, will be definitely much superior than what it would have been without that service quality ingrained. So that is again something that I would urge all the youngsters, and some of you are part of the NSS, and that is something which NSS also speaks about. It's one of the objectives of NSS. So keep that always, not just for now, but for entire life. And that, I think, is how we should take forward our life. And again, in this process of life's journeys, there are various skills that one needs to learn as one goes through life. Right? So we start with technical skills in college and universities. We learn about so much of the technical knowledge that we want, the technical skills. But as we go higher up in life, we rely less and less on technical skills. Beyond a point in time, technical skills become a little less relevant. You require more different type of skills. And those different type of skills are non-technical. And those non-technical are what? Your administrative skills, your people skills, your service skills, your strategic skills, your conceptual skills. Those become far more important as you grow higher up. And if you don't develop on those qualities which are non-technical, including your service quality, your service element, your technical skills will be of no use. So your technical skills is only for making or giving you an entry. But after you have made that entry, after that, these are your non-technical skills which move you further in life. So that is again, I think, all of us, all the youngsters, we must keep at the back of the mind that we need to upgrade on our other skills which are non-technical also in nature. So these are also as equally important in life as the technical skills, which will get you up to a certain point, but beyond that, your other skills will definitely be much more helpful. So let me just share a story with all of you on this quality of on this service quality aspect. And since we are talking of service, service is not just service to customers, service is also to society, to customers, to the community in general. So service is a very all-encompassing word, right? And just to highlight this quality of service, I read a story somewhere, so I thought I just talk about this, which just talks about how important service and service quality is. So there was this autobiography of Richard Branson. Richard Branson is the CEO of an airline called Virgin Atlantic. Of course, now it is not going so well, but at one point in time, it was one of the leading upcoming airlines in the world. And the CEO was Richard Branson, a young upstart of sorts, who was aggressive, bullish, who wanted to take over the world of sorts by his actions and his company. So he was going all with full vigor in terms of expanding and going into new areas. So Richard Branson talks about an incident in his autobiography. And that incident is about British Airways. It does not talk about Virgin Atlantic Airways. It talks about British Airways, which was his rival airline. So they were competing head to head, Virgin Atlantic and British Airways. And he talks about British Airways. Virgin Atlantic was a very new airline and a very modern airline, and he kept all the facilities, etc. So there was a supersonic jet, etc. that he had created. So all that put together. But British Airlines, this story goes like this. So there was a customer who had come to a counter to British Airways ticketing counter, and it was checking in actually for a flight from London to New York. And as he was checking in, he was in a hurry. He came in at the last moment and he checked in, got his boarding pass, went inside. He was in a hurry just a few minutes before the gate closed, and he just went and sat inside, and the plane left, and the plane departed. And as the plane departed, he then realized that the plane was just taking off. He realized that there was a jacket that he has left behind at the boarding counter, his coat. And it was a very favorite coat of his because probably somebody special had given him and he didn't want to lose that. So he said, but the plane had taken off. So he tried talking to he said, I cannot retrieve the plane, but let me talk to the air hostess and the others if they can send a message and keep that coat preserved so that I will get it. So he told the air hostess, and the air hostess said, okay, we'll relay that message for you and we'll ensure that that coat is protected. And then he forgot about it. London to New York is a long time, so he then went to London and he then forgot about it basically. So he alighted from the plane, and when the door opened, he was just coming out. There was a person standing in front of the door in New York, and that person was standing with his coat. Right, so he was astounded. He said, I am on that same plane, my coat was left behind, and the plane took off, and the coat has reached before me. How can that be possible? I only told the air hostess to keep that coat preserved for me, so that I could get it later. But then, how come he couldn't find a logic to that? How come the code has arrived before him? And he was on the flight before. So he then tried to find out what has happened. So then, on finding out what really happened, once he had told that air hostess relayed that message to the person who was at the counter. The counter person had seen that this person had left the court, so she had kept the court aside. When she got that message that this was a special court, needs to be preserved, and this customer of ours is a very special customer. So she then found out if there are any other flights which are going to New York. And she found that there is a Concorde flight which departs just 1 hour later from London to New York. And the Concorde was at that time a supersonic jet, which took 3 hours less time to reach New York from London. So 1 hour later, the Concorde flight took off. The code was inside the Concorde flight, and it reached 2 hours earlier. So 3 hours earlier. So it took 3 hours less time. So it reached almost 2 hours earlier than this British Airways flight. And when he came out, he got the code. So that is how this story unfolded. But Richard Branson narrates this incident about British Airways and the service that this customer got from British Airways. He's not talking of Virgin Atlantic, right? And he says after this incident, after narrating this incident, that after this incident, I will never, ever in my life be able to take that customer back from British Airways to Virgin Atlantic. That is the type of customer service, and that is the type of service which changes a total trajectory and total notion about how you view things. So that is where I think service becomes so important, and that's why I thought, let me narrate this story to all the youngsters here, because you have to have service ingrained in your work that you do, in your day-to-day life. Without service, I think things do not work out as good as with service. The service quality has to be top-notch. If the service quality is top-notch, if the service quality is effective and good, you are a great, successful person. So that goes for all types of services, not just the service that you give to customers. So respect, admiration, and ensuring dignity and care for our elders is part of the service that all of us do, right? And we have to do that. I remember my parents, right? So my parents, they were not as sound in terms of education or technology or in terms of skills that maybe I had learned. But there were some phrases that I could always hear from them, which always helped. And sometimes those small phrases, without really their understanding my situation or my work that I am doing, but those phrases were enough to give me messages. And that came from very solid experience. And some of those messages, some of those 2 words, be careful. Right? Think about it again. Go for it. Do it. You will get it. Some of these messages are messages which did not come through skills or technical understanding or knowledge of the subject or work that I do. But there's a sixth sense. There's a sense which comes from experience of just seeing you, what you are doing, what are the circumstances, what is your body language, and all of that put together, those words come, those phrases come. And those phrases are blessings. Those phrases itself show you and guide you path. So I think it is important to keep those messages, those blessings, and those signs that our elders give, even though they may not be as adept or as technology sound as maybe the current generation is. But it is also experience that matters and the blessings that matters. So with that, let me end here by again words of good wishes for all the new generation here. Do well in life. Always think about not just technical upgradation, but also upgrading your other skills. Your repertoire of skills include people skills, service skills, conceptual skills, strategy skills. So all that is as important to you, all of you in your life. So keep that always at the back of your mind and take that along as you go along in your careers. And God be with you for all success that you really deserve in your lives. And to all the others who are joined here, so thank you again for all the good wishes, blessings. With all your blessings and good wishes only, IOB has progressed and come to a state where it is now. And I'm sure your blessings, your good wishes will remain in future also, and the bank will keep progressing as it is doing even now. Thank you all. Thank you.